Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I am doing the My Neighbor Totoro house speed build, also known as the Kusakabe house. So yeah, I'm really excited to do this build. I tried to make it look as much like the house in the film originally. It was a bit hard because it was a film, not an actual place, although they have made one now that's replica. But anyways, it was kind of hard to piece it all together from different pictures. But I think I got it relatively how it is. I mean, it's impossible to do it perfectly in The Sims 4, but you know, I tried. But yeah, Totoro, the movie Totoro means a lot to me personally, just because I watched it when I was a kid, which a lot of people did too, but I feel like it's gotten more popular nowadays, and so a lot of the people who like it didn't actually get to see it as a kid, which is really sad because it's such a great movie, a really good childhood movie. But yeah, so that was like my favorite movie when I was a kid. We started out watching it because my mom found Princess Mononoke, and that was the first Ghibli film that my family was introduced to, and I was probably 6 or 5 or something, and I was watching it. Probably not the best. It's a pretty intense film. But then we found My Neighbor Totoro, and then from then on I was just completely hooked. So yeah, I tried to cut out as much of the pauses as I could in this build because there were stretches that once sped up it was 5 or 3 seconds, but in real life it was more 7 minutes of me just not knowing what to do, referencing pictures, and so hopefully that isn't as much now that I've edited them out, I figured. Yeah, but if you look at my other speed builds, they're a bit more, they flow a bit better, I think, than this one, but this one is different. I haven't ever done a recreation speed build before. But yeah, this build took me about 4 hours, and I have split it up into 2 parts. I think maybe it took me longer than 4 hours. I'm not sure. I kind of did the calculations. But yeah, so this is also my first 2-part speed build, so that's also pretty exciting. In a way, it's kind of because I have reached 20 subscribers, which is a big deal for me. It actually has jumped above that now, and it's been growing a lot faster than it has before. I keep looking at it every other day, and it's I have a new subscriber, which again is a big deal for me. But yeah, also Totoro is just, I love it so much. I'm considering doing other Ghibli film recreations, maybe the house from Kiki's Delivery Service. That one isn't seen very long in the film, but it's very beautiful. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, comment down below, thumbs up this video, do that sort of thing. But yeah, also, if you want to find this house, I always forget to say this, if you want, this house is up on the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. So here I'm doing one of my favorite parts of the build. These wall pieces that came from the Get Together expansion pack, I thought looked really good, and I thought they looked better than just the fence sticking out. I thought it made it look really like the original, so I was really pleased to find that. I also later used them underneath the little top of the red roof that jumps. Oh, I'm doing hair, so yeah. I use them here, and that actually mirrors some of the architecture in the film, so that was exciting. And then here I'm doing this window. I'm starting the windows, and this was one of the hardest parts. Well, I wouldn't call it one of the hardest. There are a lot of hard parts about this, but window placement was kind of hard because windows really make a build. They really add to the build, and they're a huge part of architecture. Also, I use these circular windows, and those were those are really nautical looking, so I flipped them inside out. So they look nautical from the inside, but from the outside they look pretty good. I also originally had this as just one shuttered window at the top there, but when I made the house bigger, it wasn't centered anymore, so then I had opened shuttered windows, and so that looked good. I mean, it's kind of before they moved into the house, it was shuttered, after the shutters were open. Yeah, I'm not sure if that made sense, but I think this here was the hardest part of the build for me, and that's because this, I think, is a more Japanese style of architecture, to have the hallways that kind of connect to the outside. I'm not quite sure what you would call that, but it's not something I was used to, so I wasn't quite sure what it was at first, and so I think I get it in the end a lot better, but for now it's kind of weird. Also, it's like only 1 square wide, which looks so narrow to me. I don't know why, but in The Sims, I feel like hallways need to be at least 2 squares wide, because otherwise it just seems like, I don't know, how would you fit? It just seems so narrow. So yeah. But here I'm doing the coloring, which was easy for this front part of the building because it's more European styled. The other parts of the build I use just I tried to find walls that were white with dark brown accents, and so I used the wallpaper from Get Together, which is a European type wallpaper, but I think it kind of translated over. Currently in The Sims, we don't have very many Asian architecture stuff, which is kind of frustrating. But, we work with what we have. The the doors I used in the very front of the house, on the white section. I think those look really modern, which is not this build at all. But I used them because they looked the most like the doors from the movie. And I also used them in that front hallway section. But it took me a while to finally decide on them, just because they do look so modern. But, I just kind of tried to go with what looked best. Also, the interior layout of the house is definitely not as close to the original as the exterior of this house, because one, it's kind of hard to tell the exterior just from pictures in the movie. I did find a sort of blueprint that somebody made, and so I tried to go off of that, but I wasn't quite sure how accurate it was, so I just kind of went off of that and went off the movie and just kind of pieced it all together. But yeah, here I'm doing the well, and I really wanted to use these little roof decorative pieces, but I had trouble with them because I knew that if I didn't attach them to a wall, that when you download the build, they'll just fall straight to the ground. That's also true of the pillars, but there's nothing I can do about that, really. But yeah, so I made it so that they will stay there. They won't fall down when you download it off the gallery. And yeah, I thought those looked the most like the little sort of outdoor covering for the, what did I say? Did I say pool before? Or did I say well? Because I meant well. But now I seriously can't remember what I said or what I'm doing with my life at all in general. But yeah, here I'm doing the roof pieces. I end up going back to the blue house and finishing that later because I wasn't quite sure from pictures. The picture I actually used the most for this build was actually a paper model of this, like a replica. And so that was really cool to look at, and I think it really helped, but I don't know how, it didn't have some of the details. So here I am trying to do the tatami mats, or well, I was. But yeah, I think I'll talk about those later when we get back to them, because that's a fun story. But yeah, for this half of of the build, I probably should have said this earlier, but I mostly do the exterior, the whole structure, and the some of the interior, like wallpapers and floorings. And so just now, I put that little fence opening to the bathroom because that's how it is in the movie. I'll probably say that 80 times. And then I tested it to see if it worked, and it did, so that's really great. I tested out everything in this build. I don't usually do that because I'm kind of lazy, but I did for this build because I used some really weird stuff. But yeah, I think now I'll talk about the tatami mats. I think that's what I'm doing now, about to. I used fencing for those, this really, really low-lying fence. It's more of a border, really, and I'm sure at some point I will do it on screen. But that's what I used, and it actually is still functional. It makes it so that the room is divided up into lots of smaller rooms, because those are fences, but the Sims can walk over them no problem. The furniture is on top of them, and the Sims can still use the furniture. So all of that worked. And I'm sure at some point you'll be able to see it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I also added a lot of storage-like things to this build. The closets, because I thought they looked relatively Japanese. Maybe not. But I also know that it's very common to have those to keep futons in. So I thought they were especially important to have in the bedroom. But yeah, I think we're getting to the part which is one of my favorite parts of this build, and that is the stairs. And so that's kind of an unusual thing to say, because in The Sims 4, the stairs are usually just something that you put there, and you can't really, oh, here's the tatami mats, but you can't really change it that much. And so this build called for very, very steep stairs. That's how it was in the movie. Like when I was a kid and I saw them going up those stairs, I was always like, oh my gosh, how do they even go up those, you know? And so I recreated them. They're not functional. So if you wanted to go up to the attic, you'd have to teleport your Sims up there, which, you know, is kind of annoying. But I thought it looked better that way. Plus, there's not really anything up there. I just put the radio up there. I don't even know if that's where the radio goes. But anyways, I used the same wall pieces that I used to make the sort of upper area of the porch, or the front porch, to make it look more like the movie. And so I used those. I'm about to do it right now. Yeah. So I used those, and so they look like stairs. They don't work, and they're very steep, which I think is very much like the movie. So yeah, I don't know why I'm so proud of that one, but I am. I think also having this opening here makes it really look like stairs, which I really liked. Yeah, here I'm doing the wallpaper, and I found this one. This is, I think, a base game wallpaper, and I thought combined with everything else, this is what looked the most classically Japanese. But yeah, we are nearing the end of the first part of this build. If you want to download it, it's already up on the gallery. My origin ID is penappleYT. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this build. You know, subscribe to my channel if you want to be notified for the next one. But yeah, if you like this build, feel free to give me a like, a comment, or subscribe. That would really be great. And I will see you guys next time. Bye! First time.
Carpe.
Oh, looks good. Okay.